So digital enterprise are characterized by the fact that information technology or software affects all aspects of their business model. So Trisotech brings strategy, design, and technology together to provide guidance and insight in the digital enterprise age. Traditional business do not take into consideration how fast and how drastically the landscape can change. To thrive in this market, organizations need to change the way they engage their customer, which may mean changing their core business model. By now, every company in the world should be on the lookout for the digital disruption that will threaten their existence. Your industry has either been disrupted, is in the process of being disrupted, or will be disrupted very, very near. So companies are facing real and serious problems. Trisotech, with its digital enterprise suite, is in a unique position to help organizations to transform their business, not only to be more efficient and effective, which we've been working on for years, but also more agile in delivering and improving the customer point of view. Value creation and benefit to the customer should shape a digital transformation, not just value for your organization. To stay ahead, organizations need to reassess the fundamental of their business, from the corporate strategy all the way to the operational management. Trisotech Digital Enterprise Suite not only offers standards that can help make you more efficient and effective, but also enables ideation and creative thinking, enabling the consideration from the customer perspective as well as your own internal perspective. Each industry or each organization must seek its own path to digital transformation. Success may come from reinventing an industry, but it may also come just from simply traditional business model. But without a strategy, an existing business can drift away from its customer base. So gaining customer understanding will help you shape and develop the ideas for solid ground for digital transformation. Recognized methods like canvases, visual canvases, can help you in better understanding your customer and their journey. But too often, the strategy lives in the heads of the leaders of the organization that run it. So you can increase the quantity and the quality of innovative ideas by seeking or tapping into the knowledge of the crowd. But you can't run your business just on the customer journey map. Your operation needs to be malleable to become anything you want, or more importantly, anything your customer wants. So mature business standards like bpmN, CMMN exist that can help make your operation more efficient and effective. But before diving into a re-engineering effort, you need to understand and analyze the current situation. More particularly, you need to clearly specify the business goals, analyze how they relate to initiative, and assign responsibility for them. Then you can start using a standard like bpmN to capture how things should get done. Now, business process management is the perfect approach if your transformation is based on efficiency and control. But at the other end of the spectrum, you have case management, where you can offer a paradigm shift to support knowledge-intensive work and more data-driven type of processes. CMMN being declarative in nature makes it more easy to enable dynamic and emergent behaviors in your context. But whether it's procedural or whether it's declarative, central to your operation is good decision-making. DMN increases your organization agility and adaptability by defining both the requirements and the decision logic that follows. At the juncture of your strategy and your operation are what we call business capabilities. And capabilities are enabled by people, process, technology, and information. So once they're recognized, they can be used in different combinations to achieve the desired outcomes. So a business capability map becomes a key artifact in your transformation journey. It informs the organization from a completely neutral viewpoint to enable the identification of new needed capabilities. By now, you have to actually socialize how you will achieve this transformation. So by properly socializing the strategy along with the operational model, you can achieve that shared mental model that is required, the change management Derek was talking about. Behind all this, the digital enterprise graph is a semantically rich fabric behind all Trisotech application. It basically brings together your unstructured strategies with your structured operational elements, capturing the why, who, what, when, and where of how things get done. All relevant business entities like actors and activities, goals and artifacts, events and systems are interrelated. So Trisotech is clearly an innovative provider exploiting artificial intelligence to offer the cutting edge of digital transformation. So whatever the path you decide to take for digital transformation, the Digital Enterprise Suite from Trisotech offer a collection of software tools that together can ensure your digital transformation success. I'm going to talk about EU Rent, thoughts for John Hall. EU Rent is a famous car rental company that everybody knows, I think, by now. I'm within the Trisotech Communicator, which is our socializing tool. And what basically happened is the EU Rent strategic managers got together for one of their retreat and started doing some work. And they did some evaluation, and while they were doing this planning, they did a SWOT exercise, typical SWOT exercise. And during this SWOT exercise, they identify that the electrical car technology was now plenty available and was making it reasonable for them to actually tackle this as an opportunity in the market. Having done that, this sparked two different efforts, but parallel efforts, one outside in to see what would be that offering of the electrical car, and one inside out saying how would that affect our strategies and operation. So from the outside in, the team started doing a value proposition canvas, which is part of the methodology of the business model canvas, which is to find the alignment between the consumer perceived pains and desired gains and how to align your own offering to offer gain creators and pain relievers to this. Now, in parallel with this, another team working from the inside out, and I'm showing you the results of the work, and then I'll show you how it can be created. The inside-out team look at this and look at how this affected the balanced scorecard. This is not a full worked-out example, but they look at the balanced scorecard and they added some new goals that would come in there about achieving, global rental and offering this, and then looking at the initiative and the responsibility assignment, so they can then look at, for example, how the responsibility assignment is done for these new goals, who's responsible, who's accountable, and all this. All this brings together different impacts in the middle to what we call the capabilities. So in the middle of all this, you have the capability of the organization. So here are my strategic capabilities, my core capabilities, and my support capabilities within EU Rent. And in particular, they've identified that the fleet servicing capability and the customer support, and more specifically the roadside assistance, would be affected. And indeed, what they did is some specializing capability for electric fleet servicing and electrical car roadside assistance. And by doing that, they're also, I'm having mouse distance here. So by having identified that, capabilities are enabled by process, people, and information and systems. So they're able to identify right from there which processes this capability is going to affect. So they can link this all the way to the actual roadside assistant case in this particular situation, and they added a particular road size for battery recharging. And they also saw that this would impact the decision on the repair location, and basically, in this simple toy example, it affected, an out of charge as a different type of context or fact that I have to consider in my decision making. So now we're looking the top-down kind of effect rippling down, but from an operational point of view, the operators are using the APQC, like unfortunately 90% of the, and so they look at, customer management, go down into plan and this, and go drill down to this, hierarchy, and then they get to the customer support process, which is in bpmN, and indeed the roadside assistant case is affected there and linked. So whether you're taking it from the top down or if you consider operation bottom up, you have this different view. So this inside out, this outside in view, this strategic, this operational view to bring it all together into a common understanding. So now I'm going to show you how we can do these kinds of things. So we have one tool that we call the landscaping tool, which is a very powerful tool and a very scary tool for me. But it's basically sticky notes on a whiteboard at the core. So you can, do brainstorming and drop things there and, my idea and put that there. And then, or you can basically use different canvases to scaffold the work of your team or your executive. So you can do, an Ansoff matrix. You can do Burleton hexagon. You can do the business model canvas, the 5 whys, the empathy map, customer journey. Jim is gone. He would be happy to see it. The golden circle, the process model canvas, and the value proposition canvas that I was showing there. So then executive can just start, or your team, your marketing team, this would be probably much more a product marketing team, would come and put their ideas in there. So what we also done is we also created the notion of crowdsourcing, all this more ad hoc, if you want, or design thinking approach to things. So I can go from here and go into the teamwork, and I can then, oh, I'm on the wrong instance, am I? No, I'm on the right instance. Doo-doo. Okay, so that's why I shouldn't do new stuff on the demo. So basically what I wanted to show you, and somehow I got lost in my demo steps, but I can connect to any mobile device, laptops, or tablets, and people can just contribute elements to this board. So everybody in here could just basically contribute to the board and throw their things. Now, if I go back to my original instance here and go get my value proposition canvas, I need my glasses. Now, the benefit of all this also is because everything is electronic, then I can just generate, a report of this, and everything is documented there with my board and the different categories of my sticky notes and everything. And for those of you that have played into that space of design thinking, this is 3 weeks of work after a half day of brainstorming because you have to create all the different matrices of responsibility, assignment, and all this. Now, being an electronic format, all this is done for you. Plus, the tool is intelligent enough to recognize this structure. Now, from within the tool, you can even go a step further, and I can say, for example, that this particular game creator, and I can say, well, this is really an activity. So now I've created a meaningful entity out of that sticky note that is part of my digital enterprise graph, and therefore can be readily reused anywhere as an activity, whether in a case or in a process or anything. So all this ad hoc design thinking work becomes available for your structured model, and you can link it. Now, if I go into, well, let me go this route. I'll go into my capability model. So in the capability model, oh, I've thrown one of the punch. In the capability model, I can build my structure, and this is whatever you want to structure with. So, and obviously, the tool is a tool, and people will make the use they want. So a lot of people will want to use that to build their process architecture as opposed to their capability architecture, and that's okay. But from there, this becomes a very executive-directed piece of artifact, because from there, I can quickly bring things like maturity or performance of what's going on. And we can connect just about any matrix to it. And when you look at it also, I can look at, for example, what are my enablers? When then I have my people, process, systems, and information. So when I go into here, I can see the particular data, and if I, let me just click it. I'm from a distance, so my hand-eye coordination is terrible, so let me click this way and go that. And here, on the summary, I can see all the different processes that this parent capability has attached in its child tree. So I can readily say, if I'm going to touch this capability, what's everything that's going to be impacted and where it's going to be impacted. The same for system, the same with people, people being sub-organization or group or information. So it becomes a very interesting map for the executive to look at things like performance. We can even connect things like life cycle of products, so systems. So for example, I can do a heat map of when systems are going to run out of their useful life cycle. I can look with the same view, I can look at technology debt. What's my debt in technology? Where's my risk? All these views can become there. And it becomes a very central point where you can bring all the strategic thinking that is unstructured and use this as the keynote to go to all the operational side.
So I presume, Denny, that we can also map projects into there as well?
Yes.
And map the capabilities back to where they appear on the org
Yes.
chart and all those sorts of things?
And all this, which is not the key of today, but all this goes into the digital enterprise graph behind. And then I have all my interrelationship of all these activities, entities, file, and everything. This being actually, RDF type base or intelligent graph technology. We can even, which we haven't started, but that's certainly the future direction, we can start doing inferencing on this. And we can talk, the system can actually start doing reasoning about how your strategy is poorly aligned with your operations and things like that. Because we have all the semantic and all the context to do these kind of analysis. So I'm going to stop there and take questions.